reason exists, we have to first make the assumption that there's a guy who's making reason. And that guy is God, video. And therefore any discussion about logic has to start.
Just have to say, damn good video. Highly recommend this video. The clips that you're going to see in my video, I took from Karen S.'s video. I haven't seen part 2, but I have seen Evolution of Precept part 3, Triumphal. Oh, here's what it's called. You guys can. Okay. Anyway, it's hot. Hot's a bad word. It's a good video. It's a great video. She is awesome. If you haven't discovered Karen S., see, there she is. There's Karen S. If you have not discovered this person, see, notice it says subscribed. Okay, watch the watch. You will now go and subscribe to Karen S.'s channel. Okay, this is just me being really incredibly weird. I just wanted to recommend her. She's awesome. And now, on with my video. My video about not really any particular thing. It's just that I saw this video that Karen put together today, and one of the things I knew about, and one of the things that I'm going to have in a little while, I didn't know until I watched Karen's video. But anyway, the first thing has to do with the arrogance, the unimaginable, unfathomable arrogance of a certain Cy 10 Bruggen Kate, whatever his name is. Okay, he's talking to an atheist in this interview. Karen had a clip of it in her video. You'll hear her voice at the start of this, I believe. This is a now famous little bit that is on YouTube. What happened in just before the little bit you're about to see is this. Cy 10 whatever asks an atheist, could you be wrong? Can you admit that you could be wrong? And the atheist, being honest and humble, yes, I could be wrong. And this is what Cy 10's response is.
With some examples.
Now, when David said he could be wrong about everything he claimed to know, he gave up knowledge.
The first is a well-known one among atheists. The time when Cy 10 Bruggen Kate was kicked off the New Covenant Group show for playing word games. Cy essentially snubbed atheist Greg Brahe because he answered yes to the question, could you be wrong about everything you claim to know? So according to Cy, he was no longer worth talking to because he had supposedly given up knowledge. But in real life, we all know that Brahe was perfectly capable of communication, continued communication, and Cy's snubbing him was artificial, intended to condescend.
Let me ask you about your worldview, Cy.
Well, you're actually out of the discussion because you said you could be wrong about everything you claim to know. I'm dealing with the person who claims certainty.
Hold on. Yep, that's me. Cy, I have a question for you.
Go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. You've given up knowledge. Sorry.
What I'm saying,
Can I try to restate the questions in a different, in more layman's English?
You could, but you've already said you could be wrong about everything you claim to know. So
again, I'm only asking you these questions, Cy. So I'm concerned.
You're not asking me. Okay, that's fine.
I'm sorry. We've got to stop with this cheap trick of you could be wrong. It's old, and we need to move on. You're disrespecting other hosts.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. Get off the stage.
So Cy seems to think he can look down at somebody, you know, put somebody down to make himself seem superior. That's what he's doing in this. He's putting down somebody to put himself at a higher level, or at least make himself feel that way, to feed his ego and his arrogance. You know, it's funny though, on the subject of knowing things, I bet you, no, Einstein's dead now, so there's no way to know for sure, but, you know, he's a pretty smart guy. Probably the smartest guy to come along in a long, long time. So smart he's famous for it, and I can't talk, but whatever, that's not anything new. Anyway, Einstein, knew a lot of stuff. I bet if somebody asked him straight out, do you think it's possible you could be wrong? I could bet money that Einstein would say, yeah, I bet it's possible I could be wrong. It is possible I could be wrong. I think most people who aren't delusional would say that. Oh, of course it's possible. I'm sure, rocket scientists, do they even exist anymore? There's no more rockets. But anyway, the point is, I bet you most smart people on the planet, if asked that question, could you be wrong, would say, yes, I could be wrong. In fact, I think the reason that we have progressed as far as we have in science is because scientists are always operating under that belief that they could be wrong. So they test and they research and they experiment and they learn new things. And sometimes what they learn unravels things that they thought was true because they find something that's wrong, maybe, about what they thought was true, or they find something else that's even more true. And because scientists proceed with this assumption that they could be wrong, so they continue to look for new answers, new explanations, new and improved and more detailed and more closer to the mark explanations. We have progressed as a society because of the humility of people who are smart, of the people who work very hard to know things. The fact that they continue to be humble and they never say, I know. Then you have this guy who's thumbing his nose at an atheist because the atheist is an honest person and a humble person and is man enough to say, I don't know, I could be wrong. It takes guts to be able to say that. It takes guts and honesty and a good deal of perspective. Then you have Cy and his reaction. You surrender all knowledge, because he says he could be wrong. Now my question to Cy would be, could you be wrong? Are you able to think for a moment or even contemplate the idea that, gee, maybe you are wrong? Can you? If somebody asked him straight out, could you be wrong? He would say no. He would say absolutely not. There is no way I can be wrong. And this is why when Christianity is dominating a society, it goes nowhere. There is no growth. It's stagnant. Because the powers that be are absolutely positive that they are right, because this says so right here. This right here says that they're right. That little fuzzy feeling they get in their heart, and they just know, they get this feeling in their heart. And one verse when they read the Bible, maybe God shows them something because they open the Bible and they let the pages fall, and one verse stands out. That's God talking to them, guiding them through the Word of God. You know, it takes an amazing amount of arrogance to have the attitude that that man had in that clip, that these people have. This is why I stopped listening to these presuppositional apologists, because they were stomach-turningly arrogant. And on Karen's video that I watched today, I came across another clip that I have never heard before until I listened to her video. And this is what, this next bit completely blew my mind, that anybody would have the audacity to say what this man says. Now, I know the guy's a moron. I've known that for a while. But he's being fed by more intelligent people, and the thing that comes out of his mouth in this clip is beyond my belief.
It's complete absurdity. If you say there is no God, your worldview, your view of all things is absolutely absurd. And
and it's going to come to, I think we really need to make a decision. Do we even want to concede the title atheist to them? Are we really honoring God in our apologetic and our responsibility to the sinner that we're talking to who is professing to be an atheist? I think it bears questioning if we should even concede that ground. Should we even allow the word atheist to cross our lips when addressing one of these people? Because if we were to use biblical terminology as we're wont to do, we should just be calling them fools. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God.
I just think that maybe we should ask ourselves if we should concede to these people, if concede to them, let them call themselves believers. Should we concede to them? Should we allow them the ability, the right to call themselves believers? Because if we were to go by this book right here, which is a very old book, see, very, very old, that tells us it's true, and I always feel warm and fuzzy when I read some of these pages. If we go by this book right here, it says, wait, let me find it. Right here, a fool has said in his heart that there is a God. See, it's right here on this page. A fool has said in his heart that there is a God. So that right there, we should call them fools. That's what they are. That's what we should call them from now on. We shouldn't call them believers because, we know for a fact that they actually do not believe. They know in their heart, deep in their heart, that there is no such thing as God. They know it. They refuse to acknowledge what they know, and they insist on calling themselves believers. They insist on saying they believe in this when we know that they don't. They were born not believing. They have been not believing their whole lives, and they choose to walk in denial. That's what they do. They choose to walk in denial. They're fools. And according to the book that we live by, only a fool admits that there's a God or thinks that there's a God. So I'm sorry, but I just don't think we should call them believers. From now on, we shouldn't address them as believers. We should just simply call them fools, because this book right here gives us license to call other people fools. This book right here gives us license to completely disregard the feelings or the opinions of other people. Because this book right here tells us there's no such thing as God. And because that book says so, it is true. And I know that 100%. And so do they. That's the funniest part. They know it too. They're just too proud. They just like walking around and living the lifestyle they live so much that they refuse to accept the truth that there is no God. And they are fools. So I think, you know what I think? I think we should just stop calling them believers. Just stop calling them believers. When we're talking to these people, we'll just call them fools. Just call them. We have license to do it. This is here, right here. Gives us license to call them fools and tell them that they don't know squat. Sorry. But if you base your belief system on the idea that a God exists, completely irrational belief system. I'm sorry, your whole perceptions of the world is completely fucked up if you walk around thinking that a God exists. You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You're stupid and you're a fool. You make no logical sense whatsoever because you walk around thinking that there's a God. Anyway, that's me trying to be... You know what's funny? I actually started that trying to act like a bumpkin. I tried to start and do my bumpkin voice, and I just couldn't do it. Sometimes I just can't do accents. See, there it is going again. There's the accent right there. I could do it in the accent. I could do this accent. This accent's kind of easy. I could have done it with this accent right here. But see, the problem with that is then I'm putting down people who are Southern, and there's a lot of Southern people, and I don't want to insult Southern people. You know, because just because somebody has an accent doesn't mean that they're stupid. You know, I always think, when I think of Forrest Gump, I always put on that Forrest Gump accent, you know. Which I used to be able to do really good, but I haven't done it for a while, so, you know, we're not going to do it. Anyway, so that's it. No particular reason for this video. I just, it's like, can these people grasp how they come across to the rest of us? You have extreme arrogance on one, well, both examples of profound arrogance. All because of a fucking book. Isn't this amazing how a book can twist people? I wouldn't want to be either one of these men. I wouldn't want to walk around thinking that I know everything and not have any desire to see beyond this thing that I've decided that I know and is absolutely 100% true and no questions asked. Or this other guy who's like, ha! If you don't believe the way I do, I can call you a fool. You don't even get to have the right to call yourself an atheist. You don't get the right to call yourself anything except a fool because this book says so. I'm sorry, it's actually this book right here, which is a piece of shit. See how dirty it is? Because I threw it in the mud. See all the torn pages? I used to be a Christian. You know what? Here's something I've never shown anybody. See the inside of this book? To Diane, on your 20th birthday, may God continue to bless you. Love, David. This is a guy that I liked a lot. He was my friend. So you would think this book would have a lot of sentimental value, wouldn't you? Actually, it did, and for a very long time, I didn't damage it. I didn't malign the book for a very long time, because it's a token of somebody's friendship. And although that person hasn't been in my life for 30 years, it's still, you know, it has a little warm place in my heart because my friend wrote that little sentiment. But you know what? The evil in this book overpowers those feelings so much that I can damage this book and feel good about it. It's an evil book, and you want to know proof? You want to see proof of how evil the book is? Just look at those 2 clips again that are in this video. Or go watch Karen's other videos. I mean, she's got the one that I showed little clips of was part 3. Go watch part 2. And there's a part 1 also. Watch videos by Bible Thumping Wingnut or Matthew 4:19 or Cy ten Bruggen Kate or whatever his name is. Watch pure arrogance happen in front of you. And this, and the belief that has come from it, is what has created people like this. You want to know if the Bible's a harmful thing? Yeah, just look at these people. What would they be like if this Bible didn't exist? What would they be like if this fucking religion didn't exist? Would they be nice, normal people? And the hardest thing of all is you hear little kids in the background in one of those clips. You know, what are those poor children? They don't stand a chance. They're going to be raised by one of those 2 men. They don't stand a chance. And it's all because of this fucking book. It's all because of this fucking religion. And I hate it. I just hate it in every way, shape, and form. This thing is poison. So anyway, I'm really not angry. I'm just tired of, you know, I haven't watched Matthew 4:19 for a long time because I'm so tired of the smug attitude that these people put off is so infuriating. I come back and see this clip that I didn't know exists. Holy shit, he's even worse than he was before. It's like this illness in him is getting worse. Anyway, I would rather be humble. I would rather not know that I don't know things and go looking for answers and explore and discover and continue to grow my whole life. I would rather be that than walk around strutting around, putting other people down and dismissing them Like, sorry, you don't even have the right to have an opinion if it's not the same one as mine. Please. Anyway, if you've been watching, thank you. Bye.